Hey, what's up guys, TechTine here, and this is the 2025 Moto Razr. It's been out for a while now, and I've decided to give this device one more chance. So this is sort of I think this one has been out for almost a year now, so we're closing in on the 2026 model, which should come out sometime next year. But I do want to give the 2025 standard Moto Razr another opportunity, especially with Motorola releasing a lot of discounts on their Razr lineup, which we will talk about later on in the video. But essentially the design of this phone is actually something that attracted me as far as the flip device market in general. So it does have this sort of a Pantone finish to it that feels really good in the hand. It does add an additional grip to the phone, and even to this day it seems to be sort of a durable choice of material that Motorola have used. And so it provides a decent texture. It can be a little bit more slippery than their standard vegan leather material, but as far as looks and things like that, it definitely wins out in style competitions. Now, and so the phone itself is really thin, so the sides are made out of aluminum, which adds an extra layer of premium materials, and I like how they match the material color to the aluminum sides of the phone. So it does come in at 7.2 millimeters thick, and that's when it's open. When it's closed, it's about 15.8 millimeters, and it is also light at 188 grams. This phone also has a newer design hinge that feels a little bit more durable than the previous generation, so they did do their homework and they made a lot of progress in the hinge design, which will come in handy if you plan on using this phone for the foreseeable future. So that's definitely something that I do appreciate Motorola for improving year on and year out. Now, the other thing that I want to speak on is the IP rating. So this phone is only approved for IP48 dust and some sort of underwater protection, but I wouldn't go swimming with this phone. It's just not going to happen. Now, the other thing that I want to speak on right now is the display of the device itself. Now, this phone does have a really good looking display. So it's a 6.9-inch display, and it is an AMOLED display. They call it the POLED, so it's a full HD plus display. And you also have support for 120 hertz of high refresh rate. It does reach a peak brightness of 1700 nits, and it does have 85% screen to body ratio, so all great and all. Now, it's still made out of fragile material, that is the plastic screen that you see, which is easily scratchable. So this phone will scratch like crazy, whether you like it or not, but that's one of the sacrifices that you'll have to make if you want to move on to this sort of style of devices. Now, the creases there, it's minimal. It didn't bother me after a while of use, so that's something that I was able to get used to. And there's also something I do appreciate about Motorola, which is basically giving the sides themselves a higher bump than the display itself, which would help in protecting the actual front panel for durability reasons. Now, overall though, if you take good care of the display, then you should be fine as far as everything that goes on when using the phone. Now, you can get the Moto Razr for $599, which I think is a fantastic deal given what you get with the entirety of the phone. So you can take some really sharp, good quality pictures, believe it or not, and they'll be better than a lot of phones that are at a similar price point. So it definitely competes in that regard. It's not perfect, but it tries its best to be really good at what it does. Now, I have a full camera review which will be linked in the description below if you guys are interested in checking it out. It will give you more of an insight on the camera itself, but overall though, my impressions and my camera experience with this device has been good for the most part. Again, it's not perfect, but it's gonna get you what you want out of it for the most part. Even the video quality on here is decent. It may be over sharpened and oversaturated in color, but for the most part, I'll take it and run. Okay, so I do want to speak on the performance part of this device a little bit, which is another area that Motorola kind of tried its best to give us good performance while still saving money. So this phone does have the MediaTek Dimensity 7400 chip processor, and you get the Mali G615 MC2 for your GPU, and you also get standard 256 gigabyte of built-in storage, 8 gigabytes of RAM with no ability to RAM boost, but 8 gigs of RAM for this device should be plenty for most people. And for the most part, if you want to do your average tasks, your everyday tasks, this phone is going to be fantastic at that. Even synthetic benchmarks, it will score at the same mid-range that you would expect from this processor. So 1082 and 3062 for your single and multi-core. Now, as far as I'm concerned, as far as performance is concerned, one of the downsides that I have is because this phone is really thin. One, the battery on here is only a 4500 milliamp hour battery, which I know for a fact, or I guess what rumors have been saying is that will be fixed in the next generation, where they're going to be using silicon carbon for their batteries, which means a tremendous improvement in battery life in the next generation of Motorola phones. Now, gaming on here is going to be good, but it's going to get warmer than other devices with this processor, and that's due to the thinness of this device, and really the cooling solution is not ideal for this type of phone just yet. So we'll see what Motorola does in the future. Now, it does support 30 watts of fast charging, and you also get wireless charging support as well, so that's an additional thumbs up in my book. Now, overall though, after giving this phone another chance to dance, it is a pretty good device. And it's still not the phone for me, but if you're in the market for flip devices, this is not the model that I would actually recommend. So this phone comes in at $599. However, Moto Razr's, the lineup has different pricing right now. So the sales that they have, if you go to their website, the best model that you can get is the Razr Plus, which comes in at $649. So for $50 more, yeah, you're paying $50. However, you get the Snapdragon 8S processor. So if you want more performance, $50 more seems like a good trade-off. However, another trade-off that you'd have to make is you'll get a slightly smaller battery at 4000 milliamp hours, but you get faster 45 watt of charging speed. So there's definitely some things that you'd have to make compromises on, but I'd still get the Razr Plus. I'd spend the $50 more on the device, and you'll get the best bang for your buck. You get more RAM as well, as starting at 12 gigabytes instead of 8, but keep that in mind. You make the decision. Let me know what you guys feel about. Let me know how you guys feel about the 2025 Moto Razr. If you had issues with it, let me know in the comments below. And if you like the device, also let me know in the comments below. So with that being said, I do want to give you all a very special thank you so much for subscribing. We're super close to hitting 50,000 subscribers, and that wouldn't have been possible without you guys. So I definitely appreciate the support, and I will definitely catch you guys in the next one. Thank you all so much for watching.